They say not all heroes wear capes. That's just because they wear masks. But not every masked player is a hero. Some excelled on the pitch, while others just struggled. And then, there is that one player whose journey with masks is one for the ages. After a player of the tournament performance in the World Cup, all eyes were on France's Kylian Mbappe for the 2024 Euros. So, you can imagine the headlines when Mbappe broke his nose in the first game against Austria. Everyone thought Mbappe was going to miss the whole tournament, but all that disappointment turned into excitement when news broke that he would return with a mask. Mbappe went viral with those Ninja Turtle comparisons back then, and when France handed him this one, the memes went through the roof. FIFA banned the distracting colors, and Mbappe had to settle for a plain black mask. His performance at the Euros were not his usual standards, and he blamed it on the mask. This next guy, though, had a great tournament with a mask. Son Heung-min was amazing in the 2022 World Cup. But did you know he almost never made it? South Korea qualified for the Qatar World Cup, but Son fractured his eye socket before the tournament. He recovered in the nick of time and played a huge role for Korea. A notable performance against Portugal saw his side qualify from the group stage as well. Considering Son's performance, his mask probably had magical powers. Just look at how cool he looked. Almost as cool as you hitting that subscribe button to this channel, and turn on notifications too. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's journey with masks started when he was playing for Borussia Dortmund. This guy found masks so epic, he used them to celebrate a goal. Dude pulled out a Spider-Man mask, and even celebrated with a Black Panther one at Arsenal. Aubameyang never reached the same heights at Arsenal, but made sure his mask was around whenever he scored. But that was all fun and games. Stuff got real when he suffered an injured jaw following a burglary in his house, and he had to wear a protective mask to play. Honestly, that one even suited him. Victor Osimhen was just another professional footballer a few years ago. He's been working hard at Napoli and broke through the ranks in recent years. Ever noticed how he always has a mask on? Even when you Google Osimhen, you'll see pictures of him wearing a mask. He injured his eye socket in 2021, and when Osimhen returned with a mask, he found that he was comfortable with it. So he never took it off, as the mask gave him a sense of security on the field. And here I was thinking a mask would be the most uncomfortable thing in the world. But no, Petr Cech wore something that looked even more uncomfortable. Cech was a legendary goalkeeper, and he's still considered one of the best to ever stand between the sticks. And his black helmet is just as legendary as the player himself. It all started when he suffered a depressed fracture of the skull after a collision with an opponent.
Sailing all the way through, giving the opposite keeper Petr Cech an early test. Made a couple of great saves to deny
and had 2 metal plates fitted into his skull. Yikes. I would keep a helmet on all the time too if it was me. Even when it was safe to remove it, he chose to keep it on, and like Osimhen, he found a sense of security in it. And he's not the only Chelsea legend to wear protection. John Terry was known for putting his body on the line and defending for his life. He was calm when he needed to be, but wasn't afraid to get down either. Just look at this block he tried to make with his face. So, it didn't come as a surprise when he eventually had to play with a face mask on. He opted for a transparent mask, which, let's be honest, didn't do him any favors in terms of looks. And he agreed. He made a hilarious comparison when Aubameyang wore that carbon fiber mask to play, saying he had to make do with a cheap plastic one. Different eras, I guess, but still, carbon fiber? Apart from the time he got destroyed by Messi, Josko Gvardiol is an absolute unit, and you wouldn't want to run into him in a contact sport like football. And even when he was forced to wear a mask, he became even more noticeable. Gvardiol broke his nose after colliding with his then Leipzig teammate Willi Orban. And in order to feature in the 2022 World Cup, Gvardiol had to wear a protective mask. This made him noticeable, not only from his performances for his country, but for being Croatia's man in the mask.
Perisic and Gvardiol! Brilliant! Magnificent set-piece goal! And the man in the mask!
In the 90s, Paul Gascoigne was the star for England, and is well known for his footballing skills. But there was one look that stood out in 1993. That Phantom of the Opera-esque mask. One of the greats in the 90s sporting a mask that would make any movie director jealous. But of course, this wasn't a show. Gascoigne took a whack to his face during international duty for England, which left him with a fractured cheekbone, and he had to wear it for the remainder of the 1993 season, for club and country. Everyone knows Michael Ballack from his time at Bayern and Chelsea, but it was at Bayer Leverkusen where he started to gain popularity. He was 23 before Bayern Munich signed him in 2002, and that move kickstarted a successful career. Fast forward to 2010, he was back at Bayer Leverkusen and was relatively low profile until he got noticed again. Michael Ballack broke his nose and had to wear a mask, and boy, did he rock that look. This charcoal black mask has to be one of the best looking masks anyone has ever used, especially over Leverkusen's black and red jersey. And rocking a similar look as well was Robert Lewandowski. He was playing for Bayern Munich, and it was during a German Cup game where he suffered a facial injury. Bayern vs. Dortmund was one of the fiercest rivalries in German football. And while competing for a long ball, Dortmund's keeper decided to punch Lewandowski's head off. He got completely decked, fractured his nose and jaw, and was forced to wear a mask in upcoming games. That must have hurt, but hey, at least he got to show off his mask. And he's not the only Bayern striker with a broken nose. Bayern's replacement for Lewandowski is also known for having played in a mask. Harry Kane's time at Tottenham was great, but in the overall scheme of things, he's won nothing. And ever since Kane moved to Bayern, Bayern has been struggling. So much so that everyone thinks Harry Kane is a curse. Well, he can't be, right? I mean, the guy got an elbow to the face, got his nose broken, played with a mask for months, and still won the Golden Boot while playing for Tottenham back then.
Goes for it! Oh yes! Oh yes! That is absolutely sensational!
Now, that just doesn't add up. But Paolo Maldini knew what was up. Remember when I said the Bayern-Dortmund rivalry was fierce? The Milan derby was fiercer. These guys, fans included, go to war whenever the derby comes around. And Paolo Maldini looked like he was ready to fight off an army when he turned up in a face mask. The need for a mask was because he had a fractured nasal septum. But in that mask, the great Maldini somehow looked greater. He looked like a true warrior. And when he started defending like he did, it was like watching a gladiator play football. And speaking of watching, how about you check out this next one? See you there.